and they did arrive. And that was a moment I don't think any of us can hardly even describe. We met them with a lot of tears, and we have video of that, of them coming down the terminal into the gate, and just an overflowing of joy to see them. We couldn't believe we were actually seeing them. We couldn't believe this was real, that since seeing them in April in South Sudan and then Nairobi, Kenya, that here they were in Sioux Falls, South Dakota. From South Sudan to Sioux Falls, South Dakota, here the family was. So it was April to May, June, July, August, 4 full months of teamwork, and getting them here was unbelievable. At this point, Paul was in terrible shape, poor little thing. He was slumped over in his wheelchair, and still with a smile on his face. What a happy boy through all of this. And very long journey, slumped over. We were all very concerned at his condition at that point. And you know, this boy is a special boy, and we know that he has big plans in his life, because Mom Rebecca told us all along through all of these months she would be crying really hard in Africa as we were working to try to get them here, and little Paul would see her cry and say, "Mom, don't cry, Mom, don't cry, why are you crying?" And she would just sob and cry looking at her son, and Paul would look at her and say, "Don't cry, Mom, God is in control, God is in control." And it's unbelievable, because here we have a 5-year-old boy now who gave us all hope. This little boy laughed through all of this, and he knew that he was dying, and he knew that his family was taking him here to the missionaries that he saw in April, and to a doctor here that was going to try to save his life. So it was pretty tremendous. We are seriously racing against time right now. This is pretty incredible. We get the family settled into the apartment, and thank you to Jacob Kerr and his family, his wife and his children, and to Jacob, who have South Sudanese family here, who gave their home, and they've been great. We settled them in Jacob's home, and it was tough. Paul is crying very hard. He's not in a good condition, and now it's Friday, and it's Friday night, and Paul was laying there pretty lifeless at that point. He can't eat or drink. Something needs to happen immediately. Now we're in critical stages, and this is urgent. And out of desperation, I didn't know what to do except hop in a car with my friend Rhonda, and Atem was there, and the Sudanese community was there, and the only thing I could think of is, please take me to Dr. Wilson Asfora's restaurant here, Carnival Brazilian Grill. It was a Friday night. I knew his office was shut. At that point, I did not have Dr. Asfora's cell phone. My communication with him was via email and Facebook, of all things. So I said, let's, I don't know what to do. We're desperate. Let's go to Carnival Brazilian Grill and see if Dr. Asfora is there. So we went racing over there. I was worried at that point. I didn't want Dr. Asfora to think that we were stalking him. I said, my goodness, we're going to bust into Carnival Brazilian Grill looking for Dr. Asfora. Now, Dr. Asfora laughs, we chuckle about it, because he wouldn't have minded at all. But what happened was he was not there, and we didn't know what to do. What we wanted to ask him at that point is to please just give us advice, because what we were going to do, because we always had Dr. Asfora on board, unbelievable Brazilian neurosurgeon from the beginning. Dr. Asfora gave us hope. Because we knew that we had one of the best neurosurgeons that there is who was going to do this surgery. He gave us hope, but we still did not have a hospital at that point. We did not have an institution that was willing to take Paul's case on at that point. So we were asking Dr. Asfora for advice. Paul was not eating, not drinking, in terrible condition, couldn't even sit up. He was lying in a crib. We were going to put him in a car and try to get him down to St. Jude Children's Hospital in Memphis, Tennessee. That's a very long ride from Sioux Falls, South Dakota. We had Googled it, Google mapped it, MapQuested it, and we saw that the halfway point was like Kansas City, but now we're talking a road trip because we weren't able to fundraise anymore for airplane tickets at that point. We looked into it. Air flights were real expensive, so that was our next plan. Let's get him down to St. Jude Children's. And so we wanted to ask Dr. Asfora, can he look at him? Can he just look at his physical condition at that point? Can we put him in a car? Is there anything that we can try to get him to drink? And Pediasure, anything, because the boy was vomiting at that point and was not able to chew. So that was our questions at that point for Dr. Asfora. Couldn't find him at his restaurant, so I sent some urgent Facebook messages to him over that weekend, over Friday and Saturday night. He did not see them right away, so now we were into Saturday night and Sunday. And I hadn't heard from Dr. Asfora. Time is ticking away at this point, and I can tell from I don't have experience with being at the bedside of a child dying, but I do have that experience from my dear dad and from some other friends. And I could sense that Paul was dying. Without any big medical training, you could see that Paul was dying and had moments, minutes, hours, days to live. And so that was a very stressful weekend for everyone, because now we had the family here. And the last thing we wanted is for this journey to have gotten to this point and for Paul to have just died here with no medical treatment at all. Well, I woke up Sunday morning, the Lord's Day, and we weren't sure what to do. We were really basically just going to put Paul in a car and just go for it and try to get down to Memphis. And I open up my laptop and I open up Facebook, and there is a Facebook message from Dr. Asfora, and I can't even express my feelings and joy. I was jumping all over to read Dr. Asfora's message. From just reading my message and the condition that Paul was in at that point, he knew Paul was in critical condition, and I went back and forth at that point with Dr. Asfora through messages, Facebook messages. Thank you, Facebook, an incredible social media tool. And went back and forth on Paul's condition, and Dr. Asfora said, this is absolutely critical at this point. This boy needs to be seen immediately. He does not have time at all. He is out of time. Time's up. This entire journey was just absolutely incredible. I keep referring back to over and over, I call it a race against time for Paul's life. And actually, when we started in the beginning, when we had come back to the U.S., Dr. Wilson Asfora, a Brazilian neurosurgeon, he got the information, and right away he had said that he would be willing to look at the medical information and that he was able to perform brainstem surgery. And so that gave us just an incredible amount of hope to keep on moving forward. And sure enough, this whole entire miracle, it's a miracle because it ended in the hands of Dr. Asfora.
My name is
Paul Telaar is a very outgoing, happy, and loving 5-year-old. Singing is one of his favorite activities, but just a couple weeks ago, he couldn't even talk.
Paul was very sick.
This home video from South Sudan shows just how much of a struggle Paul had with everyday activities. The video was shot in April, less than half a year after Paul was diagnosed with a brain tumor.
It was getting worse every day.
Just a few weeks ago, Paul could barely swallow and wasn't able to move the right side of his body.
All the people were worried about his life.
The family says every doctor in Africa and several neurologists in the United States did not want to operate on Paul. The tumor was located within Paul's brain stem. Sioux Falls neurosurgeon Dr. Wilson Asfora decided to try the risky surgery. A mission group raised money for Paul's trip to America.
If he had come here a day later, I don't think he would have survived.
As soon as Paul arrived, Asfora did the first of 2 surgeries.
We cut a hole in the skull and in the brain.
The first surgery was to relieve the pressure in the brain. Then 2 weeks ago, Asfora tried to remove the tumor that had been causing Paul's health issues.
If you damage the brainstem, patients don't wake up. Or if they do wake up, they have major neurological impairment.
Thankfully, not only was Asfora able to remove almost all of Paul's tumor, but it was also not cancerous. The 5-year-old is now back to talking, smiling, and singing.
He's my friend.
It's a great feeling. There's nothing in the world can pay me for that. You know, it's just to see a child so happy.
Asfora expects Paul's condition will continue to improve over the next 2 years. His mom has not only pledged to help others because of what she calls a miracle, but she believes her son will bring smiles to many other faces.
With that very bad condition, all people were worried, even the sisters, the brothers. But Paul never worried. He was telling me that, Mom, God will help me. So he was encouraging me.
With HealthBeat, I'm Casey Wannenberg.
It could have went in so many other directions, and step by step as we kept forging forward and hoping and praying and working for Paul's life, it ended up right where it was supposed to be, and that's in the hands of this incredible surgeon, Dr. Wilson Asfora. And truly, it was a miracle. 2 very risky surgeries and high-risk brainstem surgery. And it turned out absolutely incredible. Dr. Asfora, his high skill, performed a miracle. And Paul is doing well.
It's amazing to watch your son take his first steps anytime. For Paul Telaar's family, it's even better the second time around.
A bit emotional, very emotional.
Because the boy couldn't even move until a few days ago.
I saw him just doing that, standing alone and was able to move. So, oh my goodness, praise to God.
Sanford neurosurgeon Dr. Wilson Asfora removed most of Paul's tumor during 2 brain surgeries. Paul won't need chemotherapy, but he's already had a lot of physical and speech therapy at Children's Care. Walking on his own is just one accomplishment on the list, because shortly after his surgery, Paul made us all smile by singing.
My name is Paul.
This was a miracle. When Paul came off the plane, little Paul was out of life. He was out of time. And to see this miracle and to see what has happened, it's unbelievable.
Despite all of the obstacles, Paul's family says nothing happens by accident.
We can say this was a God planning.
Watching Paul's first steps may leave you speechless. Thankfully, he knows just what to say about his second chance.
Thank you for saving my life.
He is in outpatient therapy right now, learning how to re-walk and reuse his arms and his legs and speaking. He has 3 different physical therapists: occupational therapy, speech therapy, and physical therapy. And he's coming along quite well. We have some great video of Paul walking now and going through physical therapy. So this has been just absolutely a phenomenal experience, something we never thought would happen and would end in this way.
In my vision right now, Dr. Asfora is a hero to us because he saved the boy's life. The boy is walking right now. The boy is talking. By the time he was arrived in the airport, the boy would not even talk. The boy would not even eat. You know, he was shocked to us by the time we saw it. But now we're so happy, and whoever is going to listen to us, Dr. Asfora did a great thing to our son from South Sudan for the mission. And the mission of South Sudan is actually helped a lot, because by the time we went for the first time and the second time, we take the school supply and the medical supply for the clinic that we have in Sudan. So it's actually amazing to us for the mission that we are doing together with lisamarie. So I thank lisamarie because she can't give up. She always working so hard for it. And so he dedicated his life for this mission. And she's working 24 hours for our mission before he come back from his work. So thank you, whoever is listening to us. Dr. Asfora is actually our hero that he saved this boy's life. And thank you very much.
The thank you doctor video is it's something that was like a dream. Right when Paul, he came out of surgery on that Friday, it was the Friday of Labor Day weekend, and he came out of surgery, and Dr. Asfora had spoken to us after the surgery. The family was there, Bishop Ezekiel and Rebecca, the mom, and Atem, myself, our friend Rhonda. And we were sitting on pins and needles waiting for Dr. Asfora to